So basically, from here on in, you've got to get used to me with a fan blowing on me because, hello, perimenopause and hot flashes. Look, if any of you guys have tricks, tips, supplements on how to deal with perimenopause, I am all ears. I've got a new supplement coming starting this week. Welcome to the Crystal Crawford Show, where you get to ride with me along every single moment of my life and change with me, hopefully be inspired by all of my bumps and explorations. And this week, we are talking about are you making yourself crazy with how much money you don't have? Are you making yourself crazy? Are you making yourself crazy? Raise your energetic hand if you're making yourself crazy. So forgive any background noise, guys, fan noise. Welcome to our new reality. All right, all of you, I always create these shows based on, a class I'm doing or a topic I'm looking at. And I said this on another video, but about 4 days ago, I was waking up for not the first time with a lot of intensity around money. And, like if you look on the news or you go to the grocery store or you live your life, you are probably experiencing a lot of the stuff that's going on in the world right now. So, all of you guys have something different going on. I've talked to people that are, taking care of aging family members, some that are being sure they're going to be laid off, some that are trying to manage their money because of piling debt, inflation. There's a lot of shit going on, right? And the truth is that we as individuals in the world with the body are either going to be at the effect of the shit that's going on or the shit we've created so far with money, or we are going to choose beyond it. And so I'm very interested personally in living beyond the shit that's going on, whether it's stuff I've created or stuff that's going on in the world. So that's where I'm coming from. And, I was in the reference materials yesterday, and Access Consciousness is a huge body of work that's been around for 30 years. I'm a facilitator that I've been doing this for 10 years, but there's all of this archived material, like from all the classes that have gone on over the last 30 years, and I am addicted to it. So yesterday I was looking up money, because my personal journey in the last probably month to 6 years, 2 years, has been, probably the last 6 months for sure, has been this search for the first search was where did the joy go? There was a bunch of changes that went on in my life, and I was really, really struggling to continue to create. And as an entrepreneur, that's a hard place to be in, because you've created your life to be dependent on your business, and then you are the source of that business. And when you as the source are depleted or, not depleted and can't find your way to joy, then business is hard, because you're basically doing it because you feel like you have to, and you've got to maintain and, all that stuff. So you guys, I'm probably preaching to the choir. You know what I'm talking about. So that's where I was. And this was back in November. I started really going, I can't actually this is not sustainable. I can't keep functioning like this. I've got to find, where did the joy go? So since then, lots has changed. And last month, which in real time was the beginning of March 2023, Global Foundation happened. And this new conversation came out about presumptive realities and the need of reactive realities, which you've probably heard on all my latest videos. Holy game changer, Batman. The more I use these tools, the happier I get and the more money comes in. And so those are the happier you get, the more money is going to come in, right? And so I wanted to open up the conversation a little bit more about this. Like, does making yourself crazy about the money you don't have actually work? This is what I see a lot of us do. In fact, I'm doing a 21-day clearing and asking experiment with money right now, and you can come join me. If you go to the Linktree link, you can come join me. One of the persons that posted in there today, because we just started, you're more than welcome to join us still, said this. And maybe you'll recognize yourself in this. She's like, here's what's up for me around money. I'm still having that unease about needing more money. and not knowing where it can show up from. It's like stress around, I need more. And what if it's not going to show up? Basically that yo-yo money reality. And what I'd like to be different is having ease with having it and with knowing how to manage it so it doesn't run out and keeps on coming in without so much struggle. Anybody recognize yourself there? Like, tell me where you're watching from and raise your hand, send me an emoji if you recognize that. So that was me like 6 years ago. I was in a constant like epic hand to mouth situation. I never had clarity on, where my money was going, when it was coming in. So I changed all of that with a system, and I'm actually about to put out a workshop in the next couple of weeks around, taking control of your money and putting in place some systems. But for this conversation, what I want to look at is that internal, the energetic of, how did she put it? Unease. So there's energetics going on here, right? I'm uneasy about needing more money. Need is this big energy. Dis-ease around it is this big energy, and not knowing where it can show up from. So do you guys can you perceive those as I bring them up? It's like, I don't know where it's going to show up from. So it's almost like this stress PTSD energy. I need it, which is this, right? And I'm uneasy. So it's almost, it's actually this. It's like avoiding and defending it simultaneously. Well, guess what can't show up to that party? Fucking money. because there's no, money comes to the party of joy. There's no joy in that, right? There's just this like, oh my God, I don't know, right? Constantly at the effect of everything. And I will get to your comments. So give me a second. So what needs to happen is we need to get a grip and get to work, okay? And this is why I started these 21-day series. I'm going to keep doing these around clearing and asking as an experiment. What happens when you get present with the energies that you've got going on around something? So let's take money, for example. Notice them. So that's all that has to happen with energy. The only thing it takes to change energy is to choose another energy or to get present with an energy. So all of you guys can do this with me right now. Like, you want to get present with what's the energy around money in your world right now? Now, what is it? Where is it? Where can you feel it in your body? Because this is the thing, these contractions, which are all judgments, impact our body. So sometimes it's here, sometimes it's like in our shoulders, sometimes it's in our eyes, sometimes it's in our head, solar plexus, stomach, it can be in your back. So you want to just notice it. And then here's a very, very quick and dirty tool that we're using for 21 days to see what it changes. All the presumptive and need of reactive realities, holding that in place, will you destroy it and create it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, covids, and beyonds. That crazy statement, you can find out more about at Clearing with Crystal. But, so that's what we want to do, is we want to start to first hear what we're saying around money. So sometimes it's helpful to write it down if you're by yourself. Hear what you're saying around money. Notice the energies that go with it. Pock and pod all the presumptions and the need to react that's holding those energies in place. And probably everything you're avoiding and defending that holds that in place. And then start asking a generative question and start choosing everything that's possible. 3 pillars to changing where you're functioning from with money. Maybe 4. Notice it, clear it, ask something new, and choose everything possible. Okay? So I'm going to read these comments. Can you please... Okay, today during our Telegram time, you were talking about this in relation with money, but you touched on another reactive reality around relationship too, so thank you. Well, yeah, the need to react shows up in so many different ways. And with money, it can show up as poverty, it can show up as survival, it can show up as fear, worry, stress. Like, if you guys take this right now, put your attention on money, and notice what comes up for you. What is your first instinct? Is it stress? Is it worry? Is it thinking? Thinking is another need to react. So all the need of reactive reality that you're using to stimulate the PTSD of money that you're choosing, will you destroy and uncreate all that? Right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all nine shorts, boys, covids, Indians. So a presumption is this thing that's just a fact, and they're so unconscious. They're so unconscious. Can you imagine all the different presumptions we have about money? Like, you can look in your world. What are some of your points of view about money? It's hard. I can't do it. No more is going to come in. That was what we had to address today with the comment I mentioned before. Her presumption is that once this money came in, but nothing else is going to come in. I mean, that's a presumptive reality. Here, I'll give us a break from the fan for a second. So it's just a presumption. Of course, we all know that. We all know that once money comes in, no more is going to come in. Is that actually true, or is it a presumptive reality? See, this is where we need to start really working with ourselves. Another presumptive reality is live classes are hard to create. This has been a presumptive reality I've had for a really long time. It's like just mine. It's my online classes are easy, live classes are hard. Is it true, or is it just a presumptive reality? You can do this with every single one of your points of view, but you can also just get the energy that's up in your world and then puck and pod any of the presumptive points of view and need reactive realities, holding the energy in place. So there's different ways to work with yourself, but one of the pillars to changing where you're functioning from with money is working with yourself. Money can't get better from you sitting in your office making yourself crazy about how much you don't have. It doesn't get better from there. It doesn't change from there because you're spinning in your need of reactive reality, so it can't change. Can you explain a bit about presumptive realities? I think I just did. Oh, and that was you. Okay, cool. Hi. It just says Facebook user. But even though I have a little more coming in, it's not enough, and that seems to be my issue. Well, it's not actually an issue, because what do you mean by not enough? And is not enough, are you creating not enough? Are you actively creating not enough? So for you guys, this is the crazy thing about money, y'all. We create our reality. I mean, that's true across the board, but I think it's easiest to see with money. I create my reality with money. I make my choices, and then that's what shows up. Now, there are different factors that can affect what shows up physically, like, economy and clients come and go and email lists fluctuate, and there's different factors. And so humanoid financial reality is one of, there's no consistency in humanoid financial reality, but there can be this ever increasing abundance that comes in all the time that shows up in chaotic and wild ways. That's actually humanoid financial reality. So because that's humanoid financial reality, part of knowing yourself with money is to know that that's your reality. That's intimacy with self, is not going, oh, I need to create a consistent flow of money because that's what's going to make my life work. First of all, that's boring as fuck. Humanoids can't do that. Number two, it's just not a reality for us. It's not something that we choose. So what's really true is that it comes in chaotically, it comes in wildly, and we need systems to support our life, because our life kind of keeps going like a bullet train, in tandem with this chaotic, wild thing that is our money. So this is the thing about inclusion. Consciousness includes everything and judges nothing. Are you including all of your reality? Are you including all the systems you need? Are you including how money comes in? Are you including how you function with money? And so if you're not, you're always going to be shocked at how money comes in. You're always going to be shocked at how much you spend, and you're always going to be at the effect of yourself because you're not getting clear on how things function, right? So in order to always have never enough, you have to be creating never enough all the time, unconsciously. But the first step could be to create that consciously and go, okay, I'm going to actively create not enough this month. See if you can do that even. That would actually be a fun experiment. Can you actively create not enough consciously? That's kind of fun. If you can, then you can actively create more than enough consciously. It just hasn't been a choice you're making. So what do we need to clear here? Well, we can do all the presumptive and need of reactive realities that I'm using to always create not enough. I destroyed and create all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pop, all nine shorts, boys, povids, and beyonds. Because it's not an issue, it's just something you're doing. I forever created, I would say hand to mouth. I would always create just enough. And this was just a thing that I did. And I've told this story plenty of times. I learned it, I watched it, Actually, my mom creates poverty level just enough to keep a decaying roof over her head, but not enough to actually make her life work. So I did something different. I created enough money for my life to work, and I stayed in places where they kept the roof maintained, and I didn't have to do that. But I would always create just enough. So when something else came up, and it always did, this is the thing, I wasn't being honest with myself. So when I needed a car repair or dental work or a toe surgery or whatever, a massage or a haircut or anything I wasn't including in what I decided were my necessities, it always took me off guard and offset my center, right? Because I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being clear. I was like, oh, I'm creating just enough. I actually wasn't creating enough. I wasn't. My life was bigger than I was acknowledging, but I was telling myself something different. So I was always at the effect of my own lies, right? So this is something we have to learn and teach ourselves that's different, is like, how much are you lying to yourself about your financial reality? All the presumptive realities and native reactive realities you're using to lie to yourself constantly about money, are you choosing, right? Everything that is right, wrong, good, bad, pop, punk, all nature, boys, poets, and beyonds. I wasn't including things like I take trips and I like wine and all of that stuff was like, I don't do that. What's on paper is true, and what I really do with my life is what's not true, except I would go do my life, and then what was on paper didn't match my life, and that wasn't working, right? So a huge piece of the money conversation is like your big come to Jesus session about, okay, what am I living? How am I living, and what does that cost? And what's on paper, and do the two match? And what do I need to change and choose that would actually allow this to work? Would be a great question to ask, right? The clearing and asking experiment. What do I need to get clear on and ask and choose that would allow my life to work? Great question. So questions start stimulating new possibilities. They stimulate new possibilities for choice. Questions don't make choice happen to you. You still have to choose things to actualize these new asks, but they contribute awareness. And awareness comes in like knowing and being and perceiving and receiving. So okay, let me get into these comments. So I was going through a whole reactive reality in my head on money, but also relationship, and so a double win today. Oh, that's awesome. So this 21-day program is what she's talking about. It just started, you guys. The link's on the screen, linktree/Crystal Crawford. And I'm probably just gonna keep doing these, but if you wanna get in on this one, we're only on day 1. All right. Also today, I went through perceiving money reality as something that was blocking my airways into fluid, liquid gold kind of energy. So thank you again. So this is one of the things I want to establish in our world, is that when you have energy up around money, you can literally put it outside of yourself, look at it, turn it around, turn it around, turn it around, put some gecko fingers on it, stretch it, and change it. That's how energy works. That's why this shit's so cool. So stress, I'm trying to figure out how to get more. The need to figure it out. Okay, so clearing and asking, right? So how many presumptive and need of reactive realities am I using to try to figure out money am I choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, I destroy and uncreate it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, punk, all night, shorts, boys, poets, and beyond. Can you figure out money if it's something that you are? No, but you could be money and choose to have more. Is that something you've chosen yet? So now the ask part, what would it take to be willing to be money and choose more? And then taking action on all the possibilities that are available. I create just enough unconsciously and I try to counteract it consciously. I create just enough unconsciously and then I try to counteract it consciously and it feels like it's missing something. Yes, I only make about half the money I'd like to have to live my life, right? So the thing to get about money is that these are choices we are making. You are making the choice to make half the money that it takes to run your life, and then making the choice to be stressed about making half the money. Instead of going, fuck this shit, I'm stepping up. What's it going to take for me to actually be willing to be the source of all the money it takes to live my life? Which would change your life, change your business, change the people around you very likely if you're a change maker in the world, and create more possibilities. Like, this is the thing about the money conversation, is that when we finally do get honest with ourselves and look at it, okay, what does my life look like? How am I living? What do I have on paper? Do they match? How do I get my living to match the paper? And then now what do I need to choose to have this come in, right? So, but the thing about it, when you do finally get clear on all that, the world changes, because then you go out there and you create. That's the thing. All it takes for money to change is the willingness to get clear, to choose, and to create. That's it. So how many presumptive and need of reactive realities are you using to not create, or are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy it and create it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and mans. And what we want to do in these 21-day series that I've just started is have this stuff come up and get your questions around it. It's like, okay, so let's just say, I know I need to create, but something stops me. Okay, cool. What do we need to do? Get clear. I've probably changed the steps like 5 times. Ask and take action on all the possibilities available. Okay, something stops me. Well, what stops you? The only thing that can stop you is you. So how many presumptive realities are you using to stop you? Are you choosing? And everything that is times a godzillion, where you destroy it and create it all. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. Ask. Let's ask something new. What would it take to be willing to never stop? Great question. How many actions can you take today to move yourself forward right away? What's one new action you could take today to move yourself forward right away? Now, some of you are going to find you're just unwilling to take action at all. That's cool. You don't have to. Your life can stay exactly the same, but your life will change to the degree that you're willing to ask new questions and take new actions. So if there's unwillingness or stop or stuck, that's where you can start to use the clearings and the questions. You can clear out all of your, like, how many points of view do you have about starting? What are your points of view about putting yourself out there? Get clear on those. Then you can use the clearings to clear those out. Then you can start asking a different question if you want to. Well, what would it take to be willing to put myself out there? Because all it takes is willingness. Once you have willingness and you take some action, everything changes. Like clarity, willingness, and action, everything changes. So what have you been unwilling to get clear on that would empower you to create something new? And everything that brings up, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. What have you been unwilling to get clear on that would empower you to create something new? Now, how many of you are avoiding being empowered with money? Raise your hand if you're avoiding being empowered. I don't want to be empowered, because if I'm empowered, then I can, and then I can choose, and then I don't want to choose. No. I am disempowered. I'm powerless. This is happening to me. Oh, the fact that you're spending double the money every month is happening to you? Yes, it's happening to me. Well, who's spending the money? Me, but it's not my fault. My hand does it. Your hand just reaches into your purse and pulls out your... Yes! My hand has a mind of its own. It's not me. So, when you avoid being empowered, well, it's not my fault. It's not my fault. They fired me. Okay, cool. Were you aware they were going to? Yes. When did you get aware of that? 6 months ago. Did you take any action? No. That kind of thing. So it's not my fault because, the country, the company, there's a lot of things going on. My dad got sick. And of course, life is very full with stuff, right? And all of life can come to us with ease and joy and glory, but all of life can also be pain, suffering, and glory, depending on our point of view, especially if we're not willing to be aware and clear. So, are you avoiding being empowered? There's a clearing for that. Everything I'm avoiding here, everything I'm defending about being disempowered, I destroy and uncreate all that. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD, POC, all names, shorts, boys, poets, and beyonds. I liked your video on making a demand of oneself. I realized that I've never truly demanded always having money in my life, and so I never did whatever it would take to always have money. Great awareness now comes the demand thingy. Fuck yeah. And you guys, I have in my shop a $50 call on how to make a demand of yourself that I think is really good. And there's a video. If you search my YouTube channel, I'm sure I've talked about making a demand of yourself like 100,000 times. Because in truth, that's what it takes to change anything. It's like, I'm just not living this fucking stupid anymore. And y'all, I want you to know that, I mean, even as of today, March 2023, after 10 years of using these tools, last month, I had to have this conversation with me. Because I had this really beautiful system on paper that was not working. My life and how my life was working and my system on paper were like, it was crushing me. Because I was trying to stick to the system I had on paper, but my life had changed. So I had to do this. I had to go, okay, what's true about my life right now? What does my life need right now that I haven't fully acknowledged? If I were caring for what my life needs right now, how would that change my system? So this is a little different because I did put in a great system, and that system that I put in 4 or 5 years ago allowed us to have this last 2 years relatively. I got to go through 2 years of massive change and lower revenue because of all of it, because of the system I put in place 4 years ago. So it really took care of us. And now we're in a different phase where I've got to like creating, like we're creating again, right? The new future. So I was like, what does my life need, and what system can I put in place to support what my life needs? And the whole thing had to change. And it was a pretty confronting moment because I was very proud of my system. I teach my system. I love the system. But I had made the system into a structure. So I had to go, what does my life need? And how does the system need to change to support my life? And who do I need to talk to? And what do I need to change? And instantly after I got clear on all that, I had peace. Instant ease. And now, guess what my job is? Creating. Because now I have the system in place that can support me. And all my job is to create my face off. Which I love. That's fun. That's not work. That's fun. So it's like, this is the thing. Are you making yourself crazy with how much money you don't have instead of just getting present, getting clear, running some clearings, getting to work on your clearings, getting to work on your new asks, getting to work on taking action on all the possibilities available to create a different future? What would it take to be willing? And this is what we want to experiment with in this 21-day series. So jump in at linktree /Crystal Crawford if you want. Use these clearings if you want. Take notes on this if you want. This episode alone, you can use this to change your life. So don't do that. And if you just found me and found all this and you want a free taste and to kind of get your feet deeper into the water, go to infinitebeingschool.com and you're going to get so many good things there until I change it in the next week. Still good things, but literally get in there now because it's going to change and be different. Go to theawareness.challenge.com. Find yourself what you need to change your life if that's what you are craving. I am so grateful for you. I'm so grateful we have these Access Consciousness tools. They are the best self-empowerment system on the planet right now. And I'm proud to be a facilitator. So if you got something out of this episode and you know a friend who's struggling, please share this with them. Don't hoard these tools. Don't be an asshole. And like and comment and follow for more. And I will see you guys in the series, or I'll see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week.